Welcome, Starving Artist Compendium fans, to episode 2 with the incredibly talented Matthew Merback. He plays Harry Dresden with the Dresden Files Fan Films crew, also known as DF3. I had a chance to sit down and chat with him a couple of days ago, and we wax quite lengthy about Dresden Files. If you're not caught up in Dresden Files, there is some spoiler alerts. You can, well, sorry, they're there. We also do some spoiler alerts for season 9 of Supernatural, but we do give you a warning. So there you go. You have been warned. There are spoiler alerts. This was a lot of fun to film and to talk to Matt about, because I am also a big Dresden Files fan. Jim Butcher is one of my idols. A couple things about this video. Once again, it was a Skype video. I didn't notice that the audio had kind of gotten out of sync. I am not talking over Matt as much as it may appear to be later in the episode, but it is there. I don't have the in-depth audio software to fix it, so I do apologize. One day I will have all the software I need to make these look really, really good. Hopefully, either through book sales or people donating on my Patreon page, I would like to make these look more professional at some point. So I wanted to just kind of give you the little intro here for Starting Artist Compendium episode 2. And as you're seeing on the screen, I did get some stills from their Facebook page. So they actually have the entire cast from Dresden Files. There's Molly, there's Mab, there's Leah, there's Susan, there's everybody. And I did put most of their photos up. So take a look at those. Those are wonderful. Once again, my own little shameless plug. I am a self-published author. My Amazon, Patreon page, and Weebly page are all linked in the About tab on my YouTube channel. So please take a look at those. Honorbound Awakenings is out. It's $2.99 on Amazon. Book 2 will be out hopefully within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Possibly a little longer, but I'm trying. So once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy this nice little about hour and 45 minute delve into the Dresdenverse. Thank you so much for watching.
So I know you guys are filming or trying to film some stuff. Now, I just want to cover for Dresden Fan Films. I can't ever say your full name. Dresden Fan Films.
Dresden Files Fan Filming.
I always forget the files.
I don't remember point DF3.
That makes more sense to me.
Shortening, but it's a lot easier.
Okay. Yeah, DF3. Now, what was the genesis of DF3? I mean, I know you guys are obviously all Dresden fans, but who said, let's make a movie? And was that kind of, how did that come about?
God, that's a good, hold on just one sec.
Sure.
You. Oh, me. Sorry, I got distracted.
No problem.
To not be too egotistical about it, it really was me. I've been trying for as long, maybe 6 years, to try and get something Dresden off the ground. Since I first cosplayed the character when I was introduced to the books, and I was told, you'd be good for the character. I started getting this idea that, we could really do this. We could pull this off online with the current move forward to all the entertainment that's going on online without being on TV first. We could really do this. And just through mutual friends, I met Christian, the director.
Right.
And she's a huge geek. And while she hadn't read the books at the time, the way she describes it is that since it's practically the only thing I talk about, or at least I can't go 10 minutes without talking about it, the passion for it really made her want to do it. So she started reading the books and said, God, this is really something amazing. So we kind of started just doing a photo shoot every once in a while of me and weird, places around town. And it just progressed to going, ooh, what if we could get this character in there? So we cast, let me think. I think Butters was the first other person cast. Butters or Murphy. And now they're all going to be watching this or listening to this, and they're all going to scream at me going, no, I was the first one cast. I don't remember. It was over a year ago, and my memory doesn't extend past lunch today. So
the fandoms will correct you. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they will. Oh, no, I'm not concerned about the fandoms. I'm concerned about
the other actors, right?
They'll correct me later. Gently with sticks. But... And that it just kind of took off from there. We started doing the little videos. People responded really great to that.
Right.
I said it was about a year and a half ago, I guess, whenever it was previous, before Cold Days came out.
Okay.
I said, we should go shoot a trailer. Just something funky. We don't have to put anything from the book in it. We can, and I kind of came up with the idea of what the Cold Days teaser trailer that we have up looks like. We filmed it on my iPhone. It was very guerrilla style filming, but Jim really liked it.
Okay.
And so Jim said, let's talk when the next book comes out about doing a trailer. So that was kind of my long-winded way of answering your question.
That's okay, because I love all the behind-the-scenes stuff. So feel free to babble endlessly. That's fine.
I love all the behind-the-scenes stuff too on movies and TV.
Right.
I love hearing that stuff. So I've learned to be long-winded somehow.
Now, have you always wanted to play Dresden, or did you maybe kind of think of a different character first and then went, Dresden's obviously cooler? But no.
Since I read the books, I have wanted to play this character. There's, other than obviously the actual magic element of it, because if I thought I could do magic, I should probably be wearing a coat with extra long sleeves.
And not black.
I identified with some of the internal emotions in the character, and I said, when I was picturing it, reading it, it was so egotistical to me that I was thinking, God, I'm picturing myself as this character, which I know a lot of people do when they read a book. They picture themselves as a character they really like, but I couldn't get it out of my head. And to the point where I was doing, I was pulling things from White Knight, and I was doing some of his internal dialogue as monologue in acting class, just so I could do it, so I could get under the skin of Dresden, so I could live that character. And it's just, I think it's the only thing I've wanted to do in the last 6 years. I've done a couple other acting things, but nothing. That's my girlfriend, Gilly.
Hi.
If you've seen that Deadbeat shirt that's going around with the Jurassic Park logo, have you seen that?
Yeah.
She's the one who's responsible for that.
Nice.
She's an artist. She does a lot of Dresden stuff. She's really fantastic.
Nice.
But in any case.
So how long have you been doing acting? Or studying acting?
About 20 years.
Oh, okay.
I want to say acting and singing. I've been an opera singer the longest.
Oh, okay.
Which you can't tell by my voice right now because it's a little dry, and I'm battling the allergies, which is a new thing to me. At 32, I'm only now starting to get weirdo springtime allergies. This is a whole new battlefield for me. But I've been sorry, that little dovetail aside.
Not a problem.
I've been acting and singing for about 20 years.
Oh, okay. What vocal range are you in opera singing?
Baritone to bari tenor, so a high baritone.
Okay.
On a good day, I have some. On a good day, I have some tenor notes, but it's so few and far between that I don't count myself as a tenor. It's mostly baritone.
Mostly baritone. Okay. So what?
Sorry.
Not a problem.
She's walking back and forth.
Not a problem. Don't worry about it. What roles in opera have you played? Have you done a lot of operatic roles so far, or?
Not a lot of big roles. The one biggest role that I think I did Chonard from La Boheme when I was working with the Las Vegas Opera Company.
Okay.
I played a supporting role in an opera that not a lot about, and now the title's escaping me. Oh my God, Rappaccini's Daughter. It's a weirdly sci-fi opera. The elements are very weird about this mad scientist who grows a daughter out of plants, and the fact that it was an opera I was very intrigued by that. But I played a role in that was kind of a rival mad scientist, which was a lot of fun to play. Most of the work I've done in opera I did with the Las Vegas Opera Company, because shortly after I moved out of Las Vegas in 2008.
Okay.
I moved to LA and kind of started trying to get my hand into voiceover.
Okay.
Which is incredibly fun, but a very tight-knit business, so it's hard to break into.
Okay.
But that was when I got introduced to Dresden Files, and since then that has been my main goal
Dresden
in
Files.
life.
Okay.
I'm a little obsessed.
Okay. You're I have the coat and the hat and everything. No. Well, see.
No, not the hat. No.
I know.
I know.
Hat bad.
The hat.
See, that's what I always get a kick out. I'm waiting for him to actually have a hat in the books at some point, because I don't think he's ever actually worn one. And it's like I keep thinking Butcher is having the hat on there for a reason.
He does. You know the funny story behind that, and I'm sure he can probably tell it, or anybody watching this, you can find it on YouTube. He tells this story a lot, where when the first book, when Stormfront came out, they had the artist Chris McGrath. The publishers said, it's a detective novel. What's very detective-y? Well, put a fedora on him. You know, that's very detective. Even though he never wears a hat in the books, but for some reason that imagery just stuck.
Right.
With the covers, despite Jim going, no, he doesn't wear a hat. We don't need to put the hat on him. He doesn't wear a hat. But Jim really loves making fun of it in the books. I'm sure a lot of the fans know a lot of the different times he's just mentioned, God, maybe I should wear a hat, or no, I don't wear a hat. Yeah, I think that was one of the funnier ones to me. Was he had that moment in what short story was that? The Warrior, the one with Michael that took place after Small Favor, when he gets tagged in the back of the coat, and he's like, "Wow, maybe I should be wearing a hat, because an inch higher and I would have been shot in the head." So
maybe Mab should gift him a hat of some kind, just for giggles, that he never wears because Mab gave it to him.
She's already gifted him enough headwear after this last book. I don't think he'd want anything else from her now.
Well, he doesn't want anything else from her in general.
No, he doesn't want anything else from her, just all around. Really. Other than to go away. He just wants her to go away and just take all of it with her. And
yeah, but there's that whole little technicality with that.
You know, with the there's ways out of them. Maybe.
Possibly.
Anything easy, but
so
there's probably a way out of it.
Yeah, well, it's very much like every time he tries to find a way out of something, it just gets a million times worse, and it's just not pretty. Not pretty.
It's funny. I'm going back through, and at my job, I'm listening to the audiobooks from the beginning again, which I do every time a new book comes out. I start over. Like I said,
you're like, I might need help at this point.
But it's interesting starting from the beginning again and realizing the character's grown so much over 16 books in power, in character, and in amount of crap he gets himself into. Yes. So it gets more and more compact or compounded. I'm interested to see what exactly is going to happen by book 20. The Earth is just going to explode or implode. I'm not quite sure.
This is, and actually I messaged this to Jim on his page when I found him on Facebook, so I didn't know he had a Facebook page. But what's always impressed me with the Dresden Files series is the amount of layers he has, and the fact that he keeps them straight, and the continuity is never once messed up.
Oh no, and he's got a huge team behind him for that. He'll immediately give them credit too, just for all his beta readers sometimes keeping his continuity. But he's so good about it that it amazes me when you go back and you start looking through the books again, and you go, this is something that he just referenced in book 16. This is all connecting.
Right.
Ways, and it's something interesting to watch happen.
Yeah, that's kind of like my goal as my own little authory career starts, is to try to make something. And it's funny because a friend of mine has a story that he's had in his head for years, but he doesn't write very well. So when he saw I started writing, he was like, "Hi, you write? I have ideas." I'm like, "Okay, let's do this." But his world is he's very into comic books and that whole realm, and he's very much a fanatic of all that stuff and a big fan. So he's thinking in all those layers too. So when he starts, going on about all his ideas, I'm like, oh, because he's very much, I want to have levels, and I want to drop hints, and I want to not have the people know what's going on until the end. And like Witcher does. Yay!
Just little hints that pay off later, Yay! That's fun. I have no gift for writing. The torture I had to go through writing the trailer, the Skin Game trailer, and that was me pulling stuff from a book that already existed. I was sitting there going, I've got this list of lines and scenes in front of me, and I still don't know how to put this together. I would never write a novel. I have the utmost respect for anybody who can, because that's a skill beyond me. So it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Well, it's what I like about writing is you can get in your own head, and you can get in your head, and it sounds kind of, sort of, you know, a bit of a narcissist, not narcissistic, but I'm a bit of a control freak of, like, I control my own little world. I can make them do whatever I want.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the fun part of it. But you find what's interesting, and I'm sure Butcher and all authors that have a long running series go through this, is the characters start doing things without telling you. And you're like, well, but no, you're not supposed to do. Oh, okay.
You know, and it's funny. He's remarked about stuff like that before too, where he's got a general idea of where he wants the series to go, but then stuff just kind of takes a left turn with characters, and he's like, okay, well, let's do that. So
yeah,
I'm parroting his interviews now at this point. I have no original ideas in my head. This is all just Jim speaking through me stuff that he's said before, because I've heard it.
Well, see now, so I'm getting a 2-for-1. I'm getting you and Jim. Awesome.
Sure. I actually have no idea how to cover my butt legally on that one.
We won't tell him. We just won't tell Jim.
Okay, there you go. We won't tell Jim that
I'll
we're
untag him
about
in
it.
all the posts. We won't mention it.
We just won't. This won't be a Dresden thing. No, Jim, that's not a Dresden interview. No, it has nothing to do with your books.
Well, yeah, going on the Wayback Machine, what got you into wanting to act and sing? And is that just something you've had as a kid that you wanted to do, or something that piqued your interest later on in life? Or
I remember the exact thing, maybe not the exact moment, but the exact thing that got me into it, and I don't know if that was just something that pre-existed in me, but Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
Looking back, and as my taste of grown in the last 20 years, it's interesting for me to look back and go, God, that got me into singing and acting. Oh, I could have made better choices. But I still love Phantom of the Opera. There's no denying it's incredibly cheesy, but it's still, there's a reason it still plays around the country and around the world. But my grandparents had gone to New York, and this was when it was new. This was when it was a new, groundbreaking, sensational thing. And they got me a T-shirt, or was it a sweater? They got me some sort of shirt with a glow-in-the-dark Phantom mask on it, and they got me the soundtrack. And for whatever reason, I've always related to some of the weirder characters in literature, Frankenstein's monster, the Hunchback, Dracula, just as sympathetic, tragic characters. And I'd already read Phantom of the Opera. I knew the story, and the music combined with that story, even taking a little path away from the actual novel like it did, just something caught me, and I said, I can do this. This is something that I would love to do for the rest of my life, because this is something I have a talent for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even remember how long ago that was.
Well, I mean, Phantom, just the soundtrack alone is just stunning. I mean, even if you never go see the show, even if you just listen to the soundtrack, it just totally transports you into that whole realm of Phantom,
And it's the singers too. I mean, and the music, and it is something just it's a craziness all its own that I don't think anybody's ever really duplicated. Some people may have surpassed it in artistry in some people's opinions, but it still does hold its own in the history of musical theater, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's still one of the. Isn't that like one of the most? It brought in the most money on Broadway, I think, and had one of the longest runs for quite a long time.
It's still one of the longest running. And this is something, forgive me, I don't remember if it's still running. I'm pretty sure it's not still running on Broadway anymore. But it was running when Cats went, and Cats was, I think, the longest running on Broadway at that point. So it's one of the longest running in history. That much I remember.
Have you ever got to play in a production of that, even just do like some of the solos from it?
No, I would love to, but I never have. The opportunity never really presented itself. they were still in pre-production when I lived in Vegas before it came out. I actually worked at the Venetian where it plays, oddly. But I had been dying. I was sitting here going, okay, I'm gonna audition. I'm gonna save up all this energy and I'm gonna go audition for Phantom, and it just never happened.
Oh, geez.
The timing just didn't pan out. So
it happens.
What are you gonna do? Yep.
So
happens.
I mean, up to now, what type of shows or musicals have you been in, or opera have you gotten to be in?
Oh, I've done so much.
I guess a better question is what are the roles that you've gotten that you're most proud of, or were more like roles that really you were like, yes, I'm playing this character, kind of thing.
Well, Chouinard was one of them because that is my favorite opera. Loveland is definitely my favorite opera, and getting to do that professionally and get paid for it, it was really was a great thing. But I think. Oof. I mean, that one I'm definitely the most proud of. I would say I did a stint in high school in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat with a community college, and so it was a college level production. It was high production values for college. But I think beyond the fact that it was, I played Simeon, so I got anybody out there who's watching this who knows Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, the Canaan Days song toward the end of the show, I got to do, which was just so much fun, and it was a small cast, so everybody just got along really well. It was very tight knit, family type cast, and I'm hard pressed to think of any other cast that had that dynamic. Of any show that I've ever been in since. Those are the two things that leap to mind, probably.
Now, I mean, going forward, other than getting Dresden off the ground at some point, the DF3 films, cross fingers. What is there a lot of
wood? Knock on wood, don't jinx it.
Is there a lot of opportunities in Colorado that you're looking at, or something that's kind of on the horizon that you're seeing that you want to try to go for?
Last couple years of my life have been pretty hectic, just without going into too much Sturm and Drang. I haven't had time. I'm finally settling into a schedule at a new job where I have time finally. And I'd like to, but we're going to see here in the next month what happens with Dresden. So it depends on how much of my time that's going to take up, which I'd like to hope is most of my spare time. But you never know. We'll find out.
So now, if I remember correctly, because I think I asked you or Mandy, who plays Karen Murphy, you guys are doing an adaptation of one of the books, or is it an original script? Because I know the Nightlight Crew are doing an original script.
Nightlight Crew, the Tower. I always want to say Towering Turtles. That's not correct.
Although Towering Turtles would be kind of an awesome graphic logo if you had a really tall turtle.
Had a tall turtle, yeah. Well, but then you're getting into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle territory, and Michael Bay might get a little upset because there's no way it wouldn't be better than what he's going to produce. Ooh. So feel that Bay, burn. Oh, yeah.
And you can do burn. You can do burn well.
When I'm given enough time to prepare. But then again, I think most people I know are kind of, they're Turtle fans from way back because that's our generation, and so watching Michael Bay do what he did to Transformers, and then now watching him do Turtles, I'm like, oh god. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
I said that when Disney bought Star Wars, and you know.
But you know what? I'm actually hopeful. I'm reserving my judgment until I see something. And there's little photos that have been leaking from sets that are kind of backgroundy, but I'm waiting to see something official, because Disney buying Lucasfilm is a little weird, but we need to remember they own Marvel. And Marvel so far has been cranking out nothing but good. So I'm going to wait until we see that first spoilerific footage at San Diego Comic-Con, whenever that may be.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully this year. Not that I'm going to be there, but that would be cool if it was. Yeah.
Well,
stuff always leaks from San Diego Comic-Con, so eventually we'll see it.
Everybody's gonna be there with a cell phone. You know how this is gonna work.
Right, exactly. I've been to San Diego Comic-Con quite a few times. They are very good in Hall H, which is definitely where that would be. They're very good at policing that, because they like protecting the idea that these people are getting to see something special. And in fact, the last time I went was 2 years ago. We got to see the first footage of The Hobbit. We got to see the first footage of Pacific Rim, and just a couple different other things. And they were very adamant about the idea that, look, this is for you guys that are here. This is something special for the fans here. It's great that we want to show the world, but they'll see it in time. This is for you guys first. And so they're very good at protecting that. Okay. I think it's a good mentality to have, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I forgot where we were.
Yes, there was. We're going back. Are you guys doing an adaptation of a Dresden book for the movie, or are you making your own script?
Currently we have no plans. Currently, right now, we're just kind of writing the tremendous relaxation after making the trailer, because there was a great deal of we put that together very quickly, which I hope people wouldn't guess from looking at the trailer, the production value that was on it, that we got from it. We put that together very quickly for any other kind of project of that scale. So we were all very tired. We're all kind of still kind of reeling, going, all right, Denver Comic-Con's coming up. We've got a panel, so we need to gear up something for that. But let's take it about a month.
Totally understand. Yeah.
Of course, I'm the only one who's going, all right, we finished filming. What are we going to do now? Everybody else is, Tiffany, who plays Mab, and Christian, who directed, and everybody else was just kind of dead on their feet. And I'm sitting here going, that was awesome. Let's do more.
I didn't say fuego enough.
I didn't get to say fuego. I didn't get to do enough magic. I want to do more. Basically, we're not currently planning anything. My ultimate dream goal would be to turn the books into some sort of web series. Whether it be a web series of films or it's a web series of a TV show. The reason online is just because there's so much more freedom. We would be hampered by someone like Fox.
Who would cancel it after one season? Because that's what they do.
That's what they do. That is what they do. They cancel stuff far before it's time. I didn't see Being Human.
Almost Human.
Is that the name of the show
which actually was good. I've seen some of it on Amazon Instant has it. So
I actually kind of want to catch it because I really do love the actors that were in it, but I never the timing wasn't right. As is the story of my life. But that's my ultimate goal. That's something we're really working up to be able to maybe talk to Jim. But that's right now. That's just a pipe dream. That's just if wishes were horses.
Right.
Well,
I mean, I think it'd be cool because you could, even if you don't start off with the books, you could start off with the short stories, which might be a little bit more easy to put together.
Yeah, and we've broached that topic, or doing a full film like Power of Turtles is doing, just our own thing. It just depends on really what happens in the next month. We're kind of examining our options, and we're going to see what happens.
Now, how did you is the cast all people that were friends of friends, or did you guys actually put out like a casting call for people who wanted to play in the Dresden movies or Dresden
we never really did we did proper casting, we did proper auditions, but the pool we pulled from was pretty much either people we knew or people who we knew through other people, just because all of us, Tiffany and myself and Christian, are all huge geeks, and we all know a lot of cosplayers, and we all know a lot of actors. We all know a lot of people that are in film and stage, just here in Denver. and we all know an incredibly talented pool of people, and so we're very lucky in that aspect that we haven't yet had to go outside of that to cast, which is something that we'll probably broach down the road. We'll probably want to start pulling from a larger pool of people as we cast, just as we get bigger. But so far we've been really blessed that we haven't really had to look any further than the people that we know, which makes it an easier working environment.
You guys know a lot of awesome people, because like everybody you've cast, I'm just kind of like, okay, perfect. You know, it's like from Jesse to Mandy. I mean, the physicality's there.
Yeah, and it's really great just beyond the acting, just to hang out with these people, just to know them on a personal level, and to just be in their space and get to know them as friends. They're all phenomenal people. I love every single one of them, and I'm glad that they're along for this ride.
Who do you have doing your special effects? Because your guys' special effects are really, and that was one thing that stood out to me in the trailer, was the special effects was just so dead on, and it just looked really professional. So I was just kind of curious who you have doing that, and if you know what type of program they're using for that. Okay.
You would have to ask him about that, but that is a lovely gentleman by the name of Matthew McNutt, he's a huge Dresden fan, who approached Christian, 6-8 months ago. He's the one who did the effects on the short film we did, Lost, the one with Susan, the little dream sequence film. And we were just incredibly impressed, because the guy's a flippin' wizard. Like, I get to play the wizard. He actually is a wizard. If people pause this interview, go back and watch Lost. Harry's apartment, we filmed that in my apartment. And my apartment is just like any other house. It's white stucco walls. We replaced it with brick. And I thought to myself watching it going, wait, did we film this in my apartment, or did we pick somewhere that I forgot?
Was I here for filming this?
The man had replaced background that I didn't think was possible with something that looked real. And we said, okay, we need to keep this guy. And he's also just a joy. He's so receptive, and he's such an amazing talent at what he does. When we sent him the raw footage for Skin Game, he mocked up something in 45 minutes that blew my mind. He was doing spells and backgrounds and things just like that. That was amazing. I mean, he used a lot of his spare time nights, because he has a day job. So he would go to his day job, come home, and then work on the Skin Game trailer all night. And there's a lot in that trailer that people don't realize he built from the ground up. The cityscape, the Chicago cityscape, the backgrounds of most everything he did.
Because I watched the trailer, I'm like, that's not Denver.
We had 3 locations. We had a house that served as Murphy's house and the Carpenter kitchen. We had a house that served as the exterior for the Carpenter house. And then we had 3 live locations. And then we had one that served as Nicodemus's penthouse. Literally everything else was green screen. So the elevator, Demon Reach. Actually, outside the window of Nicodemus's penthouse. All of it, he did. I mean, just from raw talent. The guy blows me away.
That's awesome.
So,
well, and you need somebody like that for doing something like this, where, I mean, it's realistic, but you still have all these other elements. You have the Fae, and of course you, Dresden's abilities, and
I do a couple things that require special effects. Most of it, I learned how to throw fireballs and that stuff.
Just a talent. It comes with age.
The talent, yeah. Age and wisdom, but mostly age.
So let me ask you in Dresden mode for a brief second, because I'm curious, and I might butcher this when I see him. But the one thing that kind of threw me is when he gets the mantle, when he becomes Winter Knight, he starts throwing the winter spells and has words and everything already set up for them. And I'm like, but Dresden never worked with cold. So either when Mab was rehabbing him, he just kind of glossed over that in the case files, or does the mantle just kind of put words in his head for like control? Like it comes with a user manual. Say this to have this effect.
something that I'd actually thought of too, and that's something I still need to ask him actually. So if you ask him before I do, let me know the answer.
I'll tell you how you do your spells.
That'd be a fun thing to know. I mean, I have my own little theory about it, which is just that Harry doesn't use proper Latin for these spells. You know, I mean, there's all those flashbacks that he goes through in Ghost Story with Justin and learning his spells, where it's all just really faux Latin, really correspondence course Latin, you know, that we know he took. And Harry, I think, is quick enough to know some sort of vaguely particular word that might work for the spell, because I think he's mentioned it before. I know that he mentions the whole purpose of somatic components, or not somatic, but verbal components in spells. He mentions it in Full Moon. But I think he also mentions that it doesn't actually have to be a specific language. A lot of people adopt a language that works for them, but I think it's funny that Harry just basically has adopted gibberish, Latin gibberish. So it might have been just the first thing that popped into his head. It might have been programmed in there by Mab, or he might have actually already had ice spells on hand. I mean, every couple books he breaks out a new spell that we go, well, that's something we didn't know he could do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, the spell where he digs up that big hole in the Never Never in Changes, the spell with the chain in Small Favor, where he plugs it into the wall.
That from I can't remember, Elaine, because that was Elaine's spell. He's like, snag, thanks.
Exactly. And he learned stuff from other people. So I would be interested in finding out what Jim says, because it could have been several different places.
Well, if Jim
that I'd
tells
be
me,
interested
I'll
to find
tell
out.
you, and maybe you're just having amnesia on how you did the cold.
Very good. Yeah, no, that's true. Selective memory. I want my explanation to be it, not what Jim says. So no, it's...
Now that's like the only thing that's kind of that's the one thing reading the Dresden Files I kind of went, because all of a sudden he's just like slinging ice, and I'm like, that's like the polar opposite from what he usually slings. So
it was incredibly quick, but what's interesting is there was only the two words.
And in Frigga.
It was Arctis and in Frigga, and it's just been a mixture of those two. So my thought is that he probably came up with it ahead of time. You know, I mean, it's probably something he hadn't already spent a small amount of time on, and it's that the Winter Night Mantle supercharged the spell he could already do.
Maybe.
So, because he's versatile, you know, Harry's versatile. We haven't seen everything he can do.
I do kind of like the idea of the mantle having like a user manual 101. You know, basic use. Here's the words.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you know, I imagine that if he hadn't tried to get himself killed, literally, and then spent that time after coming back from the dead in actual rehab, that would probably be training him in different ways.
Well, it's Mab, so she might not have been. She'd been like, here you go, have fun. Figure it out on your own.
Yeah, she might have been doing the exact same thing that she did do, but never know.
So, End of Changes. My friend and I read the book, and of course the first thing we're like, okay, who killed Harry? So I pretty much pegged it. It was a suicide Kincaid thing. Did you kind of peg that as that when changes happened?
I had that it was Kincaid. It took me a couple days because I finished the book at about 3 a.m.
Like all
2 a.m.
Dresden fans do, yeah.
And in my sleep-addled stupor, I went, I think my book is missing pages. This can't be where it ends. This doesn't make any sense. So I'm texting friends of mine in New York who are Dresden fans going, what the hell just happened? I don't understand. Is that really where the book ends? And they just kind of cackled maniacally at me and rubbed my face in it. But just like every other fan. Every other fan who had to deal with that emotionally.
Emotionally scarred.
So after I kind of took that in, and got over
Yes.
the emotional scarring. I think the only rational explanation I could come up with was that it was Kincaid. Because anyone could have figured out what Kincaid had figured out. My problem is I couldn't really figure out the why. You know? I think what Jim did with it was ingenious because I never would have guessed that. I never would have. But I'm also not a big guesser when it comes to stuff like this. I'm the guy who goes into the murder mystery and just is along for the ride. You know, I just get into the oh, sorry. I just lost track of my metaphor.
It'll come to you.
I get into the roller coaster. I just get into the roller coaster car, put the seat, put the belt on, and just put my hands up in the air and go, whee! I don't try and guess. I'm not the guy who's in the middle of the movie going, the butler did it, or oh, this is how it happened. I like being surprised. I like those turns, those twists, those sudden holy crap moments.
For me, it depends on where I'm at. Now with that one, I was just like, all right, okay, these are the possible scenarios that this could have happened.
Right, exactly. No.
After I threw the book across the apartment, it was like, and then it was like, oh, I'm sorry.
I never throw your books.
I threw it on a pillow. I threw it into my couch, and then I apologized.
Okay, you threw it on
and stuff.
Okay. I can't do that anymore because I have a Kindle. I still get the hardbound copies, but I read mostly on my Kindle, and I can't throw that. That would be bad. I'm already hard enough on electronics as it is. That
don't want to lose your Kindle.
I don't want to lose my Kindle. Don't want to lose my Kindle.
Poor thing. Well, that's why I always aim for soft stuff when I throw books. It helps.
Well, but that would mean that you're not as angry as you think you are, because you're still of a rational mind to go. That's where I want this to go.
It allows you to throw it. It allows you to throw it harder, though. You can get more of the emotion out because you know it's going to be okay in the end.
Well, that's true.
Or you can buy two copies. The copy to throw.
You know what? I'm sure Jim would be behind that idea. I'm behind that idea. Buy two copies.
Buy
buy three.
The paperback to throw and the hardback to keep.
Yeah. Well, one to read or one to lend out to people, one to sign, and then one to throw.
See.
I think that's a good plan.
Fans of my books should do that.
I have so many copies of Stormfront, it's not even funny. I just moved recently. I found 3 more copies of Stormfront. I think I have 7. Just because I get so many people into it that never return my book. And I go buy a new copy, and then they return it. So I have quite a few copies of Stormfront alone.
One of the best lines of any story that I've ever read. Have you ever heard of Stephen Brust, the author Stephen Brust? He writes the Taltosh series.
Cannot say. Okay, that I'm familiar with. I was not familiar with the author.
Okay, Taltosh. Vlad Taltosh is an assassin. It's kind of he's human, but the world he lives on is inhabited sort of by these other creatures. Anyway, long story. But he goes. I know. But he goes to visit a noble, and he finds books in the noble's library about the history of the humans quote quote, of the humans in the world. And he was like, hey, can I borrow some of these? And he's like, well, you can borrow whatever you want. And then he also sees all these spell books, and he's like, can I borrow some of these? And Morallen's like, well, you can borrow those as well. But also be aware that I have many books of spells to do things to people who don't return books that I let them borrow.
Make sure you borrow that book. Just be like, which book is that? I'm going to borrow that one.
I love that line. Like, I also have books of spells to do the things to do to people who don't return my books.
You just said borrow books of spells, and I'm like, don't ever lend your book of spells. Don't borrow a book of spells. What? Does anybody watch movies anymore? That never ends well. That's like in the Hellraiser movies. What does this cube do? Let me just play with it, Nothing good comes of reading a magic book.
Just don't read out loud. Any of it 3 times in a row. You can read it. You just can't say it. Oh, that's true.
Well, The Mummy, you pretty much have to say it out loud. But still, you're very tempted to when you read, because sometimes wrapping your word or your mouth around certain words is kind of rough, so you have to say it out loud, and then the next thing you know, the dead are attacking.
Minor problem. That's when you kind of find the spell for the necromancer to come back and,
There you go. Well, no, that's when you get a hold of the person you borrowed the book
Fix
from
this.
and say,
Is there part 2? How to put the dead back to rest?
yeah. Was there a compendium? Is this missing pages? Because I either read this wrong or
Yeah, much like changes. Is there
Yeah,
pages missing from here?
is there?
Somebody
right?
died, and this is confusing.
I was so convinced for like 5 hours until these people that I was texting and calling like mad got a hold of me again that I was convinced my book was missing pages. I was on Amazon getting ready to try and return the book. Until someone said, no, that's where the book ends.
Changes?
Yeah, changes.
That's where the book ends. Oh god, that was horrible. That would have been like if he'd ended this book with the dream sequence with Murphy and Dresden. Which I was like, I read that and I was like, really, Jim? We had to make him go through this again? Really?
I think I messaged him on Facebook the minute I finished that scene. I messaged him, and it was just a lot of expletives and little characters, because he was like, oh my god.
You're like, do I even need to read this now? Do I want to read this now?
Yeah, do I want to read it?
I literally had the same exact thought that Dresden had when he woke up. Was like, seriously? Not even in a dream? Really?
Yeah. No, I'm not even in the dream.
Which
Come
is why
on.
I messaged you that you need to make another Pissed Off at Jim's film. Even if it's just on your iPhone with a notepad. I don't care.
I think we could pull it off. I think I could probably go through. It was funny when I did that, when we had the idea for that video, I literally went through all the books just mentally going, what has he done? And Christian made me cut about half the pages because I had 6 or 7 pages.
Yep.
And not in small, in small handwriting, but not in big handwriting. It was a lot of stuff, and we're like, well, we can't go on for 6 pages. This doesn't work. So we kind of picked and chose, but we could definitely take the ones that we cut out and do another one.
Or just reference that dream sequence and just be like,
oh god. That was a weird enough dream sequence to film for the trailer that it was I don't know.
Well, I mean, just like referencing that, like,
that would be...
I don't know, just because the fact too, because Murphy gets to get together with Kincaid and get a little bit of that out, and poor Dresden, because because Susan was before that. Poor man hasn't had anything, and
well, no, what's funny is he's had quite a lot.
Well, he had Susan. Well, he kind of had that little thing with Laura, which I guess counts as like vampire sex, sort of, kind of.
With Susan. You said Laura. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. I call Jesse Michael. I call Laura Susan. I pretty much don't remember Mandy's name half the time.
Murphy?
Because I've just taken to calling her Murphy. Murph. And like on Facebook, in texts, in person, without alcohol to boot. Like, I'm not drunk doing this. I'm perfectly sober, and I can't remember her name half the time.
It's kind of, her name is Mandy, so you're halfway to Murphy. Yeah.
Right, exactly. There's a it just rolls very easily. And see, now I've forgotten what we were saying. This. Oh yeah, no. So he does. I mean, he doesn't do as well as Thomas does, but Thomas is an extreme. But I think we only think that he hasn't because there's only been. I'm hard pressed to think of actual sexual scenes that are in the books. I mean, in 16 books, there's 2 or 3, which isn't bad. But I mean, Dresden does talk a lot about his relationships with Susan, with Elaine. Well, Elaine, there wasn't anything there. That was the 1 or 2 books that she was in. There wasn't ever anything romantic in the books.
That's true. Yeah, I couldn't remember her either. I'm like, I know we're missing a female.
So we never, I mean, we have the 2 scenes with her in Small Favor, but there's never really anything other than just kind of spoken about off screen after that. But so I mean, Dresden doesn't do too bad for himself. You know, he's seen enough action that it makes me really nervous to film.
So, I mean, now, since we're on the topic, like, filming-wise, have you done a lot of TV work or any work like that as far as acting goes, or are you mostly stage?
Most of my TV and film work has been background or small bit stuff that either ended up on the cutting room floor or is so quick that you don't know I'm there, or accidental. I'm in the film Rat Race, and I didn't mean to be. I was walking around in the background one day, and they were just filming at the Venetian, and I didn't even realize it till the movie came out, and I went, that's me. That's my ugly ass Hawaiian shirt way out there in the background. That's me. But you know, most of my experience is on stage with opera and theater itself.
Okay.
And
what type of plays have you done that weren't operatic or musical?
Mostly like Agatha Christie, Mousetrap, a couple Shakespeare things in college, a couple, not India. What is the correct term for a stage? Like, there was a student-written play, I guess. I know you say that for film and it's an indie film, but for stage it's just kind of like it's a student-written or amateur off
Broadway,
off Broadway.
Across the country Broadway play.
Yeah. Across the country Broadway. Europe Broadway play. But yeah, so God, I'm having a hard time thinking of what else I've done.
Do you have any theater or play roles that you would like to do? Like, I would love. Have you ever seen Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead? See, I would love to play in that play. That would just be fun.
Love that play. Mm-hmm. That is a fantastic play. You're catching me off guard. I can't actually think of anything suddenly. It's one of those things that's just all my knowledge is dribbling out my ear right now. Because I've thought about this. I have thought about this in 20 years. I've considered what I would like to do.
Well, you're just so caught up in Dresden world now.
Yeah. Well, and there you go. That's it. I've been working on Dresden for so long, I can't remember other stuff that I want to do. There is a play that was off Broadway, I want to say about 3 years ago. Maybe it was 2. And it was based on a C.S. Lewis book.
I've heard of that.
Called The Screwtape Letters. And it's a fantastic book. It's a series of letters from a junior demon to a senior elder demon about they're trying to seduce this mortal into
bad stuff. Right. Okay.
Hell, basically. And someone adapted it to a play, and it was either a one-man play or a very, very small cast play. And I said, "Good Lord, I would love to do that play. That would be." It's one of I lose a little bit of geek cred for this. I'm not a huge fan of the Narnia Chronicles, the Chronicles of Narnia books.
I think you still get your geek card.
I can already hear the pitchforks outside.
Run, Matt, run! Wait, pitchforks, fuego, you're fine.
Yeah, well, they've got the fire too, so they've got that covered. Not that I can't burn a building down myself, but But I was never a huge fan of the Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, but I love some of his other work, especially that book, and so that would be a great play. I would absolutely love to sing my teeth into that one.
Awesome. So you like playing the troubled character roles, apparently. Dresden and Demons. This works.
Just an easy leap for me. Just an easy leap.
Like, this is why I'm always in black.
Well, okay, I'm only in black because this shirt is funny to me. As Dresden, this shirt is hilarious.
So you should get one that says "Winter is here" now.
Winter is here.
I am winter. I outlived Sean Bean.
Or something. So, That's everybody, though. That's everybody in any movie he's in. You know what's funny? He just got cast in Julius Caesar
Well, he'll live longer.
as Julius Caesar.
He has to make it to the end of the movie because he doesn't get killed at the end.
Not Julius Caesar.
Oh,
like Shakespeare's
drat.
Julius Caesar. Yeah, he does not die. He dies pretty. Well, I wouldn't say really quickly, but he dies pretty close to the beginning of that.
Maybe he's just going with
that play.
his typecasting. Like, I'm gonna die. Okay, I'll just play Caesar. Just go for it.
I have to wonder. I would have loved to hear that conversation with his agent. Great news! I got you a part in a new movie. They're doing Shakespeare. Great. What is it? Julius Caesar. You can kind of feel him getting the ideas. Like, what role is it?
It is true though. Him and there's another character. There's another guy that has played in a couple of. I don't actually know the actor's name, but he was in The Crow. He was the bad guy in The Crow.
The dude with the voice.
Who was also in Kevin Costner's Robin Hood. And they.
In Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, he was in Three Musketeers. Alien Resurrection. Like,
okay,
I know the guy
I'm not sure how
really
he
well.
dies in Alien, but you notice all the other movies he dies by getting impaled, which in the period pieces makes sense. But they brought in swords into Crow.
That's a good point. I'm trying to think of how he died in. I'm trying to think of how he died in Alien Resurrection now.
There's your geek moment.
I've only ever seen that movie once. I've only ever seen that movie once, and that was enough. Even after I found out that Joss Whedon, had a hand in writing that script, I've still never gone back and gone, let's watch that movie again.
But that was another one. I was like, oh wait, he's in that show, and he gets stabbed again. But the one that threw me was The Crow, because he just for no reason opens this wall safe of swords for no apparent reason. I'm just like, wait,
you know what? He's a dealer in the movies, and I can't think of a single drug dealer in cinematic history that wasn't a little over the top. I mean, you just start with Scarface snorting that mountain of cocaine. You get another one that comes to mind is Romancing the Stone,
very
the Colombian
but that was
drug
also
lord.
an 80s movie, so over the top was kind of had to be part of that.
Well, you get 90s, you get Gary Oldman in what was that, True Romance? No, what movie was that? That was True Romance, right? Where he played the drug dealer?
Oldman's hard to remember because he's such a chameleon.
Yeah. He really is. There's stuff I go back and I go, oh my god,
he never looks the same in any role, ever.
And then you go, Dracula. What the hell? It was funny to me when they cast him as James Gordon in the Batman movies, in the Batman Begins and Dark Knight, because I went, that's such a normal role though. Like, I mean, I know James Gordon has that porn stash going on, but that's the only thing for him to hide behind. Usually he's.
That's when you're like, but is that really what he looks like? Or is there facial reconstruction going on so you don't know what Gary Oldman looks like?
I don't think he went the route of the Tropic Thunder route. I don't think he went that route. The character in that movie, I don't think he's that into the craft.
Method acting. I don't know. I'm gonna go so method.
No, that's what's his name? Lincoln.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. That guy, as an actor, I look at that guy's process and stories that people tell about him on set, and I go, acting is a lot easier than that. I mean, not that I'm would assume to be any great thing, but I imagine you don't need to go that far.
And then you go, well, this is why you only do a movie every 3 or 4 years, because you have to recover.
That's because he has to recover from it. I mean, my God. If every movie you do is like a near-death experience, why would you keep doing movies? I remember hearing when Jim Carrey did Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon that he would walk around and only get referred to as Andy, and he would only respond to that, and he was always on, and I'm going, my God, that is so tiring.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? When they call cut, be yourself. I mean, it's what some people need. It's what some actors need, and I would not, he clearly, it does something for him because he turns out great performances, but I can't wrap my brain around doing that myself.
Now,
you know?
off of Dresden Files, we've chatted Supernatural a bit on Facebook a bit. So
yes, we have. Yes.
How much of a Supernatural fan are you? Are you like, are you all caught up on the show, or are you kind of still watching? Okay, good.
I am very caught up. That's Tuesday night is my TV night with my girlfriend. She is. I don't know if she's a much bigger fan than me, or if she's a gigantically huge bigger fan than me. I'm not quite sure where that level lies.
Okay.
But I was actually the one who got her to watch it, and we both really love it. I've been keeping up with it for about 2 years now. I got introduced. Jim Butcher introduced me to the show, and I just really latched onto it as something that was entertaining and fun, and apparently I'm the smaller demographic. I'm a
actually,
dude.
There's
I don't know if that's
Aisha Taylor does a podcast, and she has Misha Collins on her podcast, and she actually asked him what the demographic is, and he says it's pretty split between guys and girls. Unless you go to a Supernatural convention.
Really?
And he's like, and then it's all single women for miles. He's all tip for you single men out there. Go to a Supernatural convention. And then Aisha was like, and get the Jared Padalecki season 3 hair. So I'm just like, yeah, I can see that.
That's not a bad idea. And even the Taken women,
Exactly.
their boyfriends are like, you know what, just go. Just go on your
that's what he
own.
was
Just
like.
don't tell me what happens. Come back on Sunday or Monday when the con's over. Just come back. And
he's like, yeah, it's single women. He's like, and the men that are there are there because they're with their females, and they're just like, oh god, oh look, it's another Castiel in cosplay.
If my girlfriend and I ever went to a Supernatural convention, I would want to go with her, just because. I mean, aside from the whole female demographic aside that goes to these conventions, they're actors. I'm always interested in talking to actors, learning, gleaning things from them. And plus these guys just look like a riot. They look like they just have so much fun on stage with each other that that's just something I find entertaining.
Made the comment that they do about 12 of those a year. And I think they've gotten to the point where they're like, we just need to entertain ourselves because we've heard every question that can possibly be asked about Supernatural.
I have a secret little fantasy that eventually I'll be at that point too, where I'll be on panels and I'll have heard all the questions
coming
before.
Up.
But I am on a panel, Denver Comic Con next weekend. Anybody who's in Denver, come.
Now we'll just have to get you questions that you've heard a million times.
Halfway there.
long road.
Long
well, I mean,
road.
if Jim keeps putting out books, then you're going to have new material. So, I don't think he's just going to suddenly I know you talked to Jim a lot. Does he have is it going to be 20 books and done, or is it just kind of going to keep going till he decides to finally put Dresden out of his misery or turn Dresden into God?
He made a really good joke. He made a really good joke at a con that I went to about 3 years ago. That was, there's 20 books, and then he's got an apocalyptic trilogy planned. Which this is all public knowledge. I'm not really spoiling anything for anybody. He's got 20 books planned plus an apocalyptic trilogy, and he said, unless my son decides to go into medical school, and then there will probably be more books.
An apocalyptic trilogy. Of Dresden Files?
In case anybody ever gets...
Oh, okay. So I was kind of wondering about that when he was talking about getting the weapons from Ab. I'm like, oh, this is where we're going. Okay.
Yeah, that part of the book kind of scared me. Well, I don't want to know where that's going to go.
Yeah, Gatekeeper dropped hints,
I do want to know where that's going to go.
In Cold Days? Or no, it was before Cold Days.
Yeah.
It was the book before Cold Days.
Well, it's funny. There's a lot of hints that people can extrapolate from without having the full reveal. I mean, all the fans have their own little theories. I've got my theories on who Komori is and who Cowell is, and they stopped referencing a while back, but they were referencing Jim, the books, were referencing toward the first 5 or 6 about there was something specific about Harry that he was
It was
born
the Starborn
for.
references.
Like he was
right.
Starborn. Yeah, exactly. And it just weird things like that it was little references that don't need to be spelled out, because if you're reading the book and paying attention, you catch little things like that.
Yeah,
so.
I want him to bring Dresden's mom in. I'm almost kind of hoping in a twisted way that Dresden's mom is Mab, in a twisted way, only because I think it would be intriguing because of how much the Fae have taken interest in Harry.
Well, but they've probably taken interest in Harry from birth.
Thing. That's true too. But I just thought that would be because I'm twisted like that. I thought that would be a really nasty twist.
Well, but I mean, he has seen his mother's face now. As of Blood Rights, he's seen his mother's face, so he knows what she looks like.
Well,
I think that would be a hard one to pull. It's only
because he mentions too. Yeah. I think he mentions because he talks about Molly and then the winter court, that their appearances changed, because both Mab references the fact that she was mortal before, and he already kind of was worried about Molly becoming unhuman or inhuman. So I don't know.
Right, but Mab was mortal a long.
Yeah, either it's Mab or like some Fae that she ends up getting sucked into the Fae world somehow, because we know she had a lot of ties with the Fae, and like so she's somewhere hidden in Fae, and then she's just gonna like pop up and be like, "Hi." No.
We could go on and on about my theories all day. I've got theories about his mom.
I don't think
she's dead. That's just my personal opinion. I wonder if everybody thinks she's not dead. Kind of like Supernatural fans all agree that God is Chuck. I have to wonder if all of the Dresden fans just assume
I want God to come
dead.
back in Cass.
Yeah.
I want Cass to be possessed by God. That's my theory.
I want my desire for this show, other than that it needs to end already. As a fan, I know that that's a horrible thing to say, but CW has this really great talent at running shows so far into the ground that you can't actually see them anymore. And they're really, it feels like they're having to recycle stuff. In fact, I thought it was interesting that Crowley said it at the end of... Oh, spoilers? Spoilers. Mute your
if you haven't watched
now,
season 9.
I'm about to say. Seriously, if you haven't watched the end of season 9 yet, mute your computer.
Talk again.
I'll do this when you can...
2, 3.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. When Crowley is sitting there at the end of that episode talking to Dean before his eyes pop open again, and he says it's all become very predictable. And I go, that's very meta of them, because at the beginning of every season there's always like little hedge bets on, okay, which brother dies this season,
Yeah, we're safe now. We're safe now. No one died. Everybody was fine.
Safe now. And if you didn't mute the computer, it's all your fault.
And if you're going to get upset about it, you can get it for $1.50 off of Amazon Instant and watch it.
You plenty of warning, and it's that wasn't too big. I didn't say the big one.
Which anybody who's watching the show, actually, I'm actually happy that they did that, because Jensen needs to do something other than be normal Dean. Seriously.
The character. Yeah, the character needs
Jared's
more
gotten to go everywhere.
depth.
Jared's been like 6 different characters.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is that Dean's entire character arc takes place in flashbacks. You ever notice, like, the more depth they try and give Dean's character, it ends up in these episodes where they flash back to when Dean and Sam were teens, or when they were tweens, or when they were younger, and you get insight into the character and you go, that's why. But there's nothing that Jensen has gotten to do. I'm really actually excited. Excited to see what happens next season. So, I actually have a bet going with my girlfriend on how long before he reveals it to Sam. My theory is it's gonna wait
that
until
might be a
mid-season.
safe bet. I mean, not
theory.
that they've ever done anything like that before, ever.
Right? They never hang on to secrets till mid-season.
I wrote my little fan fictions. I have 3 of them. And it's a series, Supernatural and Arrow crossover. Yeah, I sent them to you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, I forgive
you. I forgive you. I just sent them to you the other day.
I'm
You're
sorry.
fine.
The last week I have. No, that's true. I haven't had the chance to. I've got several people wanting me to do several things online, and the problem is right now I have my phone. Access to my computer is limited just because it's in storage right now until I move to my new apartment in a couple weeks. Yay, personal information.
I was going to grab it out of you one way or another.
But right, you're just going to ask me, so what's new? You know.
We're good.
We're good.
I actually in the 3rd one, when Castiel's in there, he basically beats Dean over the head with the fact that the brothers have constantly kept secrets. You know, and he's just like, you all just need to freaking grow the hell up and get over it. They can't.
But see, they're never going to, because the writers won't allow them that. There's other drama to be had in that kind of relationship that doesn't have to do with, just keeping secrets from each other, or I want to quit the business, so you don't want to quit the business, I want to quit the business. Oh, don't die! Don't sacrifice yourself for this.
Let's beat the same dead horse over and over and over again. I love Supernatural, but it's time that they let it die.
See?
I love it. Please die.
Yes. Sorry. If you get a little cross breeze, it was getting warm in here, so I opened. You get a little
once again, it's drama.
Noise. I apologize. It's drama. It'll blow my hair. I'll just kind of sit like this.
You're powering up.
Yes, I'm powering up.
You're getting the kinetic field through you into your rings, and this is how this is gonna work.
That is exactly it. I use the rings as a low level.
He made one of those in the book.
Yeah. He did. He used that spell, which I thought was actually really brilliant. Again, it's all very. What's the word I'm looking for? He's very resourceful. He's very inventive. It's very. I think that's just comes from being a wizard. You know, you have to learn to really think on your feet because if you don't have enough time to prepare,
bad things happen.
That happens.
Stuff doesn't. The stuff that you don't want to blow up blows up.
Even when you do have time to prepare, sometimes it doesn't go according to plan.
Awesome. There was something else I want to ask you about the DF3 stuff, and I can't remember. I know you said you're thinking of doing a web series kind of thing with that. That's a pipe dream.
That's a pipe dream.
I guess
that's a wish.
What I'm curious about is if, say in a month everything gets all figured out and you guys are like, yes, we know what we're doing. Is the main thing getting out an actual movie, whether it be based off of a book or an original script? Is that kind of where you're and the group is kind of looking at? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, tentatively. That's it's a subject we've only really broached lightly, because we're kind of taking this in stages, and I think that basically something long form is our goal.
Right.
We would like to do the books.
You'd have to get all the permissions and stuff
would obviously
like that too.
be,
yeah.
That would just be phenomenal. But Jim is actually on record from just this current book tour as saying there's people that he's looking for that are optioning that are really interested in working with him to do a TV show or a movie. So
as long as we don't do we'll just have to see where that goes. TV show. Yeah. There was something that referenced the same name, but Paul Blackthorne was good.
To be fair,
okay.
I saw that show before I knew there were books. I thought the TV show was actually, it showed promise. It suffered from what I call first seasonitis, which a lot of sci-fi fantasy shows, it takes them about a season to really find their footing. Buffy is a really great example. First season is strong in Buffy, but you can tell that they're still kind of a little uncomfortable. And then by season 7, it's Buffy. One of the weird ones that doesn't really suffer is like Firefly, but that's because
we didn't have anything to compare it with.
Well, and it seemed like they just had their groove immediately. There was something magical about what they had.
I think too. That was Whedon's second or third show. I think by then he was like, well, he kind of had an idea of how Fox was going to go, and I think he was just like, this is what we're doing. And he's. I think he got his groove.
He knew. He knew what they were going to do to him beforehand. Sorry, now I'm worried about my hair. I'm sitting here looking at my little icon in the corner,
You're
going,
fine.
"Oh God, do I look silly?" But like Farscape, which is probably by far my favorite sci-fi show of all time. If you haven't watched Farscape, go pick it up. It took the first 3/4 of the first season to really to really get into a good groove. But most shows suffer from that, and I think if I hadn't ever read Dresden Files, well, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this. But I think I would have a different appreciation for that show because it showed promise, but it had a lot of issues. And now reading the books, it's hard for me to separate.
I had read the books before the show, and I didn't mind the show being different. What I minded was the show not getting anything right. I mean, I understand.
Not sticking to anything in the universe.
I was even okay with them changing the car, But when Dresden's like picking up on every single woman in the show, at the end of every episode, he's like totally like the smooth guy. I'm like, is this the same source information?
The first episode, when he shows up, when we get introduced to the character, when he's laying in bed with some woman who I think he doesn't remember her name, or that's not Harry. Harry is the kid in the corner who doesn't really know how to talk to girls.
Harry got Thomas spells.
which was a weird thing, because I think they only optioned for the TV show Nick Cage, who was the producer. They only optioned like the first
Thomas
4
isn't
books?
in the first 4.
I don't remember. See, now all the fans are going to correct me again, but I'm not perfect.
You don't know your own case file history? Damn you, Dresden!
I do. I just choose to forget that part of it.
Yeah, but Thomas isn't in the first couple of books, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like they think they only optioned.
Yeah,
the first
that was my
4
biggest
books,
complaint with the show. Was just like, when did Harry become Mr. Picker-Upper Smooth guy that all the women fall for? I mean, the women fall for him in the books, but he's just like, run away. Commitment, no,
That's true. Yeah, no, he doesn't. He has to have people point out to him that women are interested. Molly and Karen, kind of. He doesn't realize that tension is there until Thomas points it out. He can't. He's not good at it. He's just not. He said it before. He's the equivalent of the geek who sits at home on his computer.
And that's
He doesn't
also funny
really know
that
how to
he's now in
socialize.
He's now in a Fae court. Because, I mean, they're all about manipulation and sex and this and that and the other. And he's just going to be like, just don't touch me. Don't look at me. I'm going to turn you a block of ice. Don't touch me. Don't look at me.
And he was stuck on the island.
I'm sure that helped
for a
his
year by
social skills
himself.
immensely.
That just... Oh, yeah, completely. When your only friend is a bunch of creepy imprisoned demons
island spirit.
and an island spirit,
He thought it was bad when he had Bob with him.
Loci.
At least Bob could like kind of give him points, but it's like he has nothing now.
Right. He had a foil. Bob was really a good way for Jim. Bob was really a good way for Dresden to remember how not to be,
But I don't know. I think it'd be fun if you guys to see. I want to have you guys do a movie because you guys have such an awesome setup, and I'm just like or even some more short films. It would just be so cool.
I would love to. I would love to do I love playing in this universe. I will do anything at the drop of a hat. You want me to go do a stage play of this? Sure. You want me to do a voiceover for a cartoon? I am there.
Well,
This is just, it's such a phenomenal world to play in, you know? There you go, that would be fun. I'd actually had that thought of it would be really great to do live action movies of the books and then do the short stories animated. I always thought it would be an interesting, fun idea. You know, just when I'm daydreaming by myself.
Talking to your island spirits.
Yeah.
So we're back to method acting now, aren't we, Matt?
Yep. Nope.
He says now.
Right. You know, 3 years from now, you're going to see me living in an apartment underneath a boarding house, you know. It's bad enough that I wear the coat everywhere. Like, I'm not wearing it now because it's 90 degrees out, but when it gets to be the weather, that's the coat I wear out. It's it is, and it's a little fun to see people's reaction because it's not particularly good most of the time. I can't count how many times I've been in line at the grocery store, or at the movie theater, or at the DMV, and standing. I'm 6'3", and then I wear shoes that give me another inch or two, just out of habit.
Right.
And hiking boots, that kind of thing. And so I'll be standing in front of someone who's Mandy's height, who's 5 foot nothing. I'll be standing behind them and just not talking because you're there in the DMV by yourself. You're in the line for a grocery store by yourself, and they'll turn around because they'll realize there's something behind them.
You're looming over them in this black coat.
I have the worst time trying not to laugh right in their face because I feel bad because I've scared someone. I don't like scaring people, but I love the look on their face.
Oh, but how many times does Dresden pick that up in the books? Seriously.
I have to wonder, because he does say a couple times that,
when he went to Karen's family's picnic.
Yes, exactly. That
and all the cops are like,
is going to get you looked at.
What are you doing? See, you're just staying in the character. Just that so you never get out of it. So you're always ready to go.
Well, okay. It's not wearing the coat that's method acting. If I start taking the staff everywhere,
problems.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much constantly wear the shield bracelet. It just is a thing that's permanently attached.
So wait, if you're 6'3", how tall is Jesse? Because he is taller than you. Is he like 6'5", 6'6"? Holy crap!
6'8", and I think that was the main conversation I had with Christian after we had his audition. Was the guy's perfect, but he's also 5 inches taller than me. The fans will lose their crap. They'll be like, "Oh, he's not supposed to be taller than me." And I think Christian's exact words were, "Just relax, I'll take care of it." And I've worked on film sets for TV and movies, but not enough to really know and experience. I mean, in the trailer, I thought we did a pretty good job of making him look, if not at least my height, also, a little bit shorter than me.
With the exception of the really annoying, nitpicky people, they're going to be okay with it. Because I've always had the impression that Michael's taller than Dresden anyway. You just kind of get that feel because he's just, I am the Knight of the Cross, and,
Yeah.
And we're too busy, honestly, looking at his muscles to really judge height. So.
Exactly. No one's actually looking at his height. They're looking at the massive
you're safe.
pecs and the shoes and the. Yeah, exactly. But and that brings up an interesting thing. Not a lot, but a couple people have mentioned that I'm not Harry height, which is 6'9".
Harry 6'8". Did I miss something in their books?
That's a hard. Dresden is the better part of 6.5 feet, so he's 6'8". Ridiculously tall, which presents a problem logistically filming. So we, when we decided that we really wanted me to play the character, it became well, there are going to be people taller than you. I mean, 6'3" is tall. It's not, obviously, as Jesse is proof of, it's not the tallest there is. So there's still room to play with that.
But, I mean, honestly,
referencing
Supernatural, I mean, you know, when you're looking at Jared and Jensen, it doesn't dawn on you how tall Jared is, really. Like, you're not thinking, oh, he's 6'5", until he's standing next to some, like, a normal sized female. And then you're like, oh dear God. And Jensen's 6'3". Yeah, I know.
Jensen is my height. And I was talking with my girlfriend about it. We thought it was hilarious. Timo Pennicott, who was in this last season, is also 6'3", 6'4", and there's a scene where he's eye to eye with Misha Collins, and Misha Collins is like 5'8". So it's hilarious to sit there and look at it, going, "Yep, that's cinematic magic for you right there." Because Cass is not that tall.
Timo Pennicott, he needs to get his own flippin' show, because he's been in so many shows as a side character.
He was probably my favorite. One of the few things I liked about Dollhouse. Forgive me for being a Whedon Luddite, but it really was not my favorite of his works, and I think they hit their stride too late. You know, they were given that second season, and it was only after they got canceled around midway of that second season where they went, "Oh, we got canceled."
Maybe Whedon was so surprised. He was like, "Wait, I'm supposed to write?"
And doing what they wanted turned out to be exactly what they should have done from the beginning. I mean, they started out pretty strong. It was an interesting idea, but Whedon's strength is family dynamics. And that show, while there was a group of people, could only be very loosely called the family.
At any given moment, right.
Right, exactly.
I did love the concept, though.
Exactly. So...
And I mean, Eliza Dushku as an actress, because she produced it, she must have been like, "Oh, I can play anything? Sign me up." You know?
Yeah, exactly. But I get to change every week. It's awesome. So, Alan Tudyk was the other piece of that show that I absolutely loved. He's my dream casting for Toot Toot if it ever came to that. I would love Alan Tudyk.
Okay, so since you went there, I was gonna bring it up, but all right. Fantasy cast, other than yourself as Dresden.
Other than myself, that
need
is
any other
fantasy cast
this
right
is
there.
all you need.
Just me. I'll do all.
You're like, hence animated.
I will do
and
all
voiceover.
the things. Yeah. I would. Throw a character at me.
Let's get the one that's always hard because of partially the height is as Murphy. Who would you want to play Murphy? Because she's a hard character to cast.
Honestly, other than Mandy, who I think really, like I've been doing, is really getting under the skin of the character. If I was to cast a celebrity, the height thing does become an issue, so it's kind of hard to say.
But even like acting-wise, I mean, who do you think could play like a Murphy character?
What is her name? She was in I can't remember her name. I see her face in my head so clearly, and now I can't remember the name of the show. It's all just slowly drifting out of my head.
Matt, is this what we're suffering?
Exactly. It was. What was the show? It just got a movie that was Kickstartered. Okay. It did Veronica Mars.
I haven't even seen the show,
what's her name? The main character is Veronica Mars. Everybody that's watching this is shouting.
I'll just put a note if you know the actress. Put it right in here.
Shouting at their screen. It's
Hathaway?
Kristen.
Hathaway? No, Kristen.
No.
Both of you. Okay, one of you Google it on your phone. Hello. We'll come back to
looking
that.
it up for me. She's looking it up for me.
Kristen Bell. Okay, Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell. She would be fantastic. I think she could probably get under that. Really well.
Nicodemus. Yeah. Although, I would have to say Alan Rickman, just because he does snarky evil like a trademark.
Someone who carries that kind of weight. Alan Rickman, like we were talking about earlier, Gary Oldman. someone who can portray that kind of ageless evil, but still smooth. It's funny, in my head, when I read the books, I sometimes get my Marcone and my Nicodemus imagery very mixed up.
I just did now too. I was thinking of Marcone.
Well, because
Right.
they're always very classily dressed.
Right.
With a similar cadence, very business oriented. They're both in good shape, so it's one of those. Sometimes I have to stop myself and go, no, that's the image that you have for Marcone. That's not him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nicodemus, because he's eventually going to figure out what Matt pulled, and that's not going to go well. I don't think. And he has the Holy Grail now, which I'm sure has some mystic ability that we haven't found out about yet.
Obviously, we haven't seen the last of him. But I have a theory he's going to he's going to have something to do with that big apocalyptic trilogy that Jen's planning. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he didn't show up until then, but again, I know nothing. I literally know nothing past what any other fan knows. So, like, my theories are all just based in theory, just like anybody else. I have no insight whatsoever.
So, other than you playing Harry, who would you like to play Harry?
I don't know.
I think Blackthorn did okay, but I don't think he got the character. Of course, they were also writing the character differently, so it could have been part of that.
Yeah, I mean, they were writing the character poorly, but you can still put the character inside the bad writing, if that makes any sense. Still, if you read the books and did your homework, you can extrapolate what the character is and say, okay, in the context of this script, how... What is? Oh my God, Dresden. Carl Urban.
I could, because he does kind of that troubled role well, because the only things I've seen him in is Almost Human and I saw him in the Riddick Chronicles, and of course Lord of the Rings, and Star Trek,
and Star Trek.
So yeah, I think that would work, and I think that would be good. And for some reason, I was just thinking that Stephen Amell could actually be a good Michael.
Stephen Amell, remind me.
Arrow.
Stephen Amell.
He plays Arrow.
Remind me.
If you haven't watched that show, because he's got the physicality of it.
I haven't. I guess I could see that.
See,
I
would be
would
good
rather
too.
Timo Pennicott.
Yeah. Because he can do kind of that.
Yeah.
He's got that presence on camera. And he's played a lot of protector roles too, because that's what he played in Dollhouse.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's exactly. He can play still, and there's that stillness in Michael that Jesse does very, very well. There's that, still waters run deep thing that goes on with Michael, I think. But, I mean, just various other, I would love to see...
We've talked about this.
We've talked about this,
it always gets popped up on one of the Dresden pages on Facebook's. Every couple weeks is who do you want? I'm like, we've run out of actors at this point.
Always. We've got our secret little wish would be something I brought up, which was James Marsters to play Marcone. Yeah. We would really love to. Or
even as Nicodemus, he would be an awesome Nicodemus.
I think it would be a good Nicodemus. I'd like to give him something a little bit more ambiguous, because when he plays evil, he plays evil. Spike was a demon, he was a vampire. That's pretty much just straight up, it was a demon and a villain with depth. Don't get me wrong. Spike had levels. But the thing about Marcone is that he's so...
Not chaotic, lawful neutral. He has a very definite code. And I'm
not quite sure lawful neutral's the right. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure lawful neutral's the right alignment, but and that's why Dresden has such a problem with it, because every time he wants to label Marcone as just bad guy in the box, you're done.
Can't hate him for
something that he can't.
It's that whole free will thing. Messes everything up.
Exactly. And then there's the Alan Tudyk is Toot Toot is one that I've held on to for years. But then the other one is Clancy Brown as Morgan is something I would love
I'm not familiar with that actor.
to see or have. Clancy Brown, he was in Shawshank Redemption. He was the Kurgan in Highlander. He was Lex Luthor for the Superman and Justice League cartoon. Like, I could go. It's not like I'm a fan at all. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did some voices for Gargoyles. He did Wolf for Gargoyles. Yeah, he's
and the Viking Akon.
She's gargoyle geeking behind me.
She's a photographer, I see.
Yeah, she's pretty good with a camera. I have to say. I think it stems from being an artist.
Does she shoot some of your
got
guys'
a good eye
cast shots
for imagery?
Oh, okay.
Nope, that is all Christian. That is all Christian. That is, I think 95% of the shots that you see on the website are hers. Some of the behind-the-scenes stuff from the trailer is, well, actually, all the behind-the-scenes stuff from the trailer is, and his last name escapes me right now, but Matthew Briels. Okay. Oh, it's Tiffany's brother. It's Matthew Briels. And then Bear Stanley, who's a friend of mine who did a lot of he's a professional photographer. He did the scene stuff.
Awesome. So, I'm so excited. So are you guys filming your panel? So you're going to put your panel up on the DF3 page? Awesome.
Oh yeah. You better believe we're filming. You better believe I want to keep that forever.
It's just a DF3 panel. It's just you guys up there, or is it?
Well, it's just going to be us, and we're going to be discussing it. It's part of the filmmaker the local filmmakers panel. I'm not quite sure how to say this. They have a panel block for Denver filmmakers, so indie filmmakers, and how to and
Phoenix has something like that too.
And see what we're making. Yeah. So it's kind of in that venue. So we're approaching it less about. We obviously want as many fans to come and geek out with us as possible, but we're definitely approaching it from the, hey, this is what we did, this is how we did it. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, Denver Comic Con next weekend, Sunday, 10:30
a.m. or 10:30 p.m.
Just come play with us. 10:30 a.m., but it's on a Sunday, so I know everybody's going to be a little hungover from the night before.
So don't drink as much.
Only natural at a con. I won't scream too loud into the microphone. I will promise not to scream into the microphone.
And if Dresden promises something, it will happen. That's how this works.
Only if I promise it 3 times. No, that's okay.
Yeah, no, we won't promise it 3 times because then Mab's going to show up over here on your shoulder and go, and what else would you like today? What, winter night isn't enough for you? What else can I get out of you?
That
was what I wanted to ask
scares
also.
Me.
The accent for Mab that Tiffany plays Mab, right? That Tiffany comes up with. I want the story behind that.
Okay,
or is that her accent? Is she from another country?
Okay. Well,
yeah.
What, Tiffany? Tiffany is, as far as I know, she's American, unless there's
hence why she plays
something
Mab
deep
so
dark
well.
that she's not telling me.
I didn't know the Never Never had that accent.
The first time I did a script read with her when we were kind of just playing around with scenes, and she had her Mab face on, and then she smiled, and I got this literal chill down the back of my neck because I was like, that was the creepiest thing I've seen all week. She does the Mab icy creepy very, very well. I think what a lot of people are.
Yeah.
She and I had the most screen time in the trailer, any of us. And what I'd really like to do more with her is some more of our little short videos, because within the context of a trailer, it's hard to really get an idea of a person's performance. In terms of the accent, and this is something I'm still a little not sensitive, but I'm still very defensive about, because it was a group decision. In the book, in Summer Night, it says she had an accent that was that I couldn't place vaguely Eastern European. And the idea is that Mab is a being that is so old that she's going to
Accents, right.
predate, people out there that are throwing out things like Irish or Scottish or Welsh, because
Right.
the real world fictional character Mab has her roots, in that kind of mythology. But in Jim's mythology, the idea is that she's so
Right.
old, you're not going to be able to place an accent.
Mm-hmm.
But she's going to have an accent. So what Tiffany did, and brilliantly, and again, it's hard to pick up in the trailer because there is so little dialogue. She melded a whole bunch of different accents. There's a little Russian in there. There's a little Slavic. There's a little Spanish, actually, which I find it,
Yeah.
and I mean, not
Spaniard,
Hispanic,
Castilian Spanish. Yeah.
Like action.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yes. She blended a lot of stuff together, and she worked very hard on it. And I think that people, first of all, the people who don't like it, they need to give it more of a chance, because it fits the character so perfectly. And I would challenge those people that are throwing out other ideas, like Irish, she should have a Welsh accent.
Mm-hmm.
Say those lines with a Welsh accent, and see if that actually sounds good. Because we went through it all. We went through, try it in Russian, try it without an accent, try it with an Irish accent. And nothing was more distracting than
Right.
just a pure accent, straight up, whether it be Russian or German or Irish. It was incredibly distracting from the performance, and she was giving such a good performance. We said,
Everything. Yeah.
well, she predates language like that. So what if it's a little bit of everything, And yeah, no, I mean it's right there in the book, and that's typically where I end my argument. But
The
since
floor
I
is
have
yours.
The floor, that's pretty much how I have to explain it. Is that's how it came to be. We massaged it, and then she, on her own time, again, just came up with this brilliant accent, and I really want people to hear more of it. We just as exercises, we did that whole first scene from Skin Game. We never filmed it, but we do have. We had the script, and we went through the whole scene, and to hear that accent in depth, it's beautiful, and it lends
Some
to the power
random idea
of
for
Mab,
you,
you know?
since we've been talking about ways to bring DF3 to life.
Yes.
Why don't you guys do podcasts of chapters and read them and actually like do them as characters, like have the whole group get together and act them out, but just do the audio.
It was an idea a little while back that we would do, about 2 years ago, that a friend of mine, Jennifer, and I had, that we would do Ghost Story as an audio drama, since we didn't get James Marsters. And the read that we did get wasn't bad. It just wasn't what we were used to. That we thought, well, here's Matt wanting to play Dresden, and here's someone who has an experience in voiceover and in audio recording who is a huge fan. Let's get together and put that together. It fell through for a variety of reasons, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. But I think the problem is getting everybody in a room, and kind of weekly
if you've
planning.
got a good audio person, they can just cut it all in.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm actually not.
No, that's true, and we have. I'm actually not that horrible with audio.
Yeah.
But we also have McNutt. We have Christian, who are just both wizards with their editing.
I just think it'd be kind of fun because
it's not a bad idea.
I know. Like I said, personally, me, I'm just like more DF3. It's like I want to see some performance of you guys. Do something.
Anything that we can
but
put
I think
out.
it'd be kind of fun to keep people interested, and it'll give you guys. I mean, even if you can't ever get to a point anytime soon where you're making a 2-hour long feature length movie, but you guys can get to explore the characters more, and you get to see more Tiffany's accent and stuff like that. And I think that'd just be kind of fun to do. And I know I like this.
Exactly.
I know I like listening to podcasts, and I know a lot of people do, where they're just like, oh, I can listen to this and house clean or whatever, work out.
Yeah, and that's even beyond podcasts.
Yeah, and that's even beyond
Yeah,
podcasts,
audio drama.
just doing, like I said, doing like an audio drama of the books. But far be it for us to try and eclipse Marster's great reads, which I still need to listen to the Skin Game one. I need to pick that up. Not that I'm thinking about it. I have it. I just haven't listened to it yet.
Are you buying it in your sleep?
I just realized
Like-
I had it. Okay. No. Gilly got it for me. My girlfriend is apparently in charge of that because I forget. Well, I get the book, and that's I got the book. I'll read it. Boom. But then I like the audiobooks because I can listen to them at work. I can listen to them in the car. Yeah, like anybody else who does. So yeah, it would be a fun thing to try.
Do a couple chapters of Skin Games.
It would definitely be new ground for quite a few of the actors, probably. But nothing that would be too uncomfortable, I don't think.
I mean, a chapter by itself isn't that much of a space. You just have to have somebody do narration. Or, well, actually, you would do narration, because it's your head. It's all in Harry's head. You'd have the most work.
Because it's all in Harry's head, right? Yeah.
Yay!
Yay! I'm the one who wants the most work, so
Well,
hell,
any last
I'll take it.
thoughts before we go?
Come see the panel next Sunday.
Wait,
Come see
that's
the panel
3.
next Sunday.
Watch it. You mentioned it 3 times already. That's 3.
That's that's 3 times. Yeah, no.
Oh,
well, but
okay.
I didn't say I'd do
go
anything.
for
I
that
told people
loophole.
to come
That
see it.
always works for you. Yeah.
Well, that's the idea. I gotta find the loopholes, or
You
else
were.
I'd be so dead by now.
You tried that loophole, and that whole death thing failed.
But I noticed I had to do it myself, and I still had to find a loophole to get out of it.
Loophole plan B. Maybe. Final thoughts.
Final thought. I'm really thankful that all these people are really enjoying our work. I'm thankful in my life that I found Christian and Tiffany and all these people who believe enough in the project to back it. And I'm very happy the direction that we're going, and I just hope people keep watching. And,
Well, thank you for
and
spending
enjoying,
time with me.
so.
It was nice to meet you face to face, sort of.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I'll come to the Denver
someday
Comic Con if
in
I get hooked on
person, who
Comic Cons. I might be out there. It's it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll work on that plane
It's in a
ticket.
week. You can make it. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Matt. I appreciate it. And I'll let you know before I post it, so you'll have it all ready to go.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right. It's nice to talk to you. See you later.
Awesome. I will talk to you
Bye-bye.
later.